So transformation of energy. We know that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be converted from one form to the other. Okay. So this is where transformation of energy comes into picture. The change of one form of energy into another form of energy is known as transformation of energy. So then, मतलब daily life में we come across so many examples where energy is being transformed from one form to the other. Example, in a hydroelectric power plant, you will see that potential energy of water is being converted into kinetic energy of water, and then that kinetic energy of water is being converted into electrical energy, right? So these are different. So in totality, mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy. So similarly, we come across many such scenarios where one form of energy is converted into another form of energy. Okay. So when a body is released from a height, then the potential energy of the body is gradually transformed into kinetic energy. तो अगर एक ऑब्जेक्ट किसी हाइट पे रखा हुआ है और यहाँ पर से इसको हम लोग ड्रॉप कर दें, है ना, इनिशियल वेलोसिटी लेट्स से 0 है और ये h हाइट पे था इनिशियली, सो h हाइट से अगर इसको ड्रॉप करेंगे तो इस पॉइंट पे इसका पोटेंशियल एनर्जी mgh है और इनिशियल वेलोसिटी 0 है तो काइनेटिक एनर्जी 0 है, राइट? तो जैसे जैसे नीचे आएंगे इसका स्पीड इंक्रीज करेगा, हाइट डिक्रीज करेगा, राइट? तो अगर कोई ऑब्जेक्ट यहाँ आ गया तो अब जो हाइट होगा वो कुछ एच डैश है और इसका वेलोसिटी v है मान लो, तो अब यहाँ पे अगर पोटेंशियल एनर्जी निकालेंगे तो पोटेंशियल एनर्जी इज mg h डैश, राइट? And kinetic energy will be equal to half mv square. So kinetic energy is increased, potential energy is decreased, right? So as we come down from a height h, what happens is kinetic energy keeps on increasing and potential energy keeps on decreasing. So this is what is written. So when a body is released from a height, then the potential energy of the body is gradually transformed into kinetic energy. So when a body is thrown upward, the kinetic energy of the body is gradually transformed into potential energy. So when you throw something upward, right? यहाँ से ऊपर अगर हमने फेंका है, तो what happens? The kinetic energy is converted into potential energy. Okay. So when a body is thrown upward, the kinetic energy is converted into, gradually transformed into potential energy. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, law of conservation of energy. So, by conservation of energy, we mean that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. So, as we said, that energy is always converted from one form to the other form, right? So, when it is converted from one form to the other form, the total energy at any moment of time will always be constant. The value will always be constant. So, this is known as law of conservation of energy. So according to this law, energy can only be converted from one form to another. It can neither be created nor destroyed. Okay. So ये law क्या बताता है कि energy can only be converted from one form to another. Okay. So it can neither be created nor destroyed. Right. So whenever energy gets transformed, the total energy remains unchanged. So जब energy transform होगा एक form से दूसरे form में, तो energy क्या होगा? The total energy, the value hoga, that will remain unchanged, that will always be constant. So let an object of mass m be made to fall freely from a height h. So at the start, the potential energy is mgh and kinetic energy is 0. Okay. So object of mass m be made to, just a sec. So let an object of mass m. तो हम लोग कर रहे थे कि भाई एनर्जी क्या है, एनर्जी गेट्स ट्रांसफॉर्म फ्रॉम वन फॉर्म टू another, and total energy always remains unchanged. So let's say an object of mass m be made to fall freely from a height h. At the start the potential energy is mgh. So जो अभी हम लोग एग्जाम्पल लिए भी थे, है ना, अगर किसी हाइट से हम लोग एक ऑब्जेक्ट को ड्रॉप करते हैं, तो इस पॉइंट पे जो मैक्सिमम हाइट है उस समय बस पोटेंशियल एनर्जी ऑब्जेक्ट का होगा, विच इज इक्वल टू एम जी एच. इसका मास m है और जो हाइट इसका ग्राउंड से है वो h है. सो लेट एन ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ मास m बी मेड टू फॉल फ्रीली फ्रॉम अ हाइट h. At the start, the potential energy is mgh and kinetic energy is zero. Why kinetic energy is zero? Because ये initially rest पे था object. So kinetic energy is zero. काइनेटिक एनर्जी इज जीरो बिकॉज इट्स वेलोसिटी इज जीरो, है ना. ये ऑब्जेक्ट इनिशियली रेस्ट पे है, u इज इक्वल टू जीरो है, तो काइनेटिक एनर्जी भी जीरो होगा. अब टोटल मैकेनिकल एनर्जी क्या होता है, हम लोगों ने पढ़ा था कि मैकेनिकल एनर्जी टू फॉर्म में होता है, काइनेटिक और पोटेंशियल. सो टोटल मैकेनिकल एनर्जी इज इक्वल टू kinetic energy plus of potential energy. So this is the total mechanical energy, right? So kinetic energy we know is equal to zero here. Potential energy is mgh here. So total mechanical energy will be equal to mgh. ठीक है. Now as it falls, its potential energy will change into kinetic energy. जैसे जैसे ये नीचे गिरेगा, ये potential energy will be converted into kinetic energy as it falls down. So as it falls, the potential energy will change into kinetic energy. If v is the velocity of an object at a given instant, the kinetic energy should be half mv square, right? अगर किसी instant पे इसका velocity v है, right? So the kinetic energy will be equal to half mv square at this moment. As the fall of the object continues, the potential energy would decrease while the kinetic energy would increase. So what happens actually is the potential energy gets converted into kinetic energy. So potential energy is decreased and kinetic energy is increased as the object comes down, as the object falls down. So when the object is about to reach the ground, that is h is equal to 0, v will be the highest. So when the object is about to reach the ground, let's say when the object is about to reach this place, so here h becomes 0 and v will be highest. So at this place, when it is just about to hit the ground, the maximum velocity will be maximum. Why? Because height is minimum, kinetic potential energy is minimum. So all the potential energy has converted into kinetic energy, है ना. So therefore kinetic energy would be the largest and potential energy would be the least. तो जब ये ग्राउंड को हिट करने वाला होगा, जस्ट हिट करने वाला होगा, हिट नहीं किया है, जस्ट हिट करने वाला होगा, उस समय काइनेटिक एनर्जी तुम्हारा मैक्सिमम हो जाएगा, राइट, और पोटेंशियल एनर्जी हमारा मिनिमम हो जाएगा, विच इज इक्वल टू जीरो. सो काइनेटिक एनर्जी बिकम्स मैक्सिमम एंड पोटेंशियल एनर्जी बिकम्स जीरो. इज दिस क्लियर टू एवरीवन?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, किसी को नहीं समझ में आए तो मुझे पूछ लेना.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you explain why the kinetic energy becomes the largest and the potential energy becomes the least?
This is because, see, potential energy is mgh. So when the object is about to hit the ground, at that point height कितना होगा? जीरो होगा. जब ग्राउंड को हिट करने वाला है, हाइट जीरो हो गया, तो जो आपने निकाला है mgh, उसमें क्या हो जाएगा? mg इंटू जीरो, मतलब ये क्या हो गया? जीरो हो गया. तो पोटेंशियल एनर्जी लीस्ट हो गया, है ना. और जब एनर्जी कंजर्व रहेगा तो वो जो पोटेंशियल एनर्जी ऊपर जब हाइट पे था उस समय जो पोटेंशियल एनर्जी था mgh, दैट पोटेंशियल एनर्जी हैज टू convert into kinetic energy. So all the potential energy has converted into kinetic energy, and that's why kinetic energy becomes maximum, है ना.
Okay, sir.
And anyways, we know that when an object is falling down, so if u is equal to 0, and let's say this is height h, and we have to find the velocity v, we know that v square is equal to u square plus 2gh, or V square is equal to 2gh, right? So this here you can see that this is the maximum velocity. So maximum velocity is when the object is about to hit the ground. So because the velocity is maximum, kinetic energy is maximum here. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Now, however, the sum of potential energy and kinetic energy of the object would be the same at all points. That is, potential energy plus kinetic energy is constant. Okay. So the sum of potential energy plus kinetic energy, the sum of potential energy and kinetic energy should be same at all the points. So this is constant, or we say that mechanical energy is conserved. Okay. सो एम जी एच पोटेंशियल एनर्जी क्या है, एम जी एच है. काइनेटिक एनर्जी क्या है, हाफ एम वी स्क्वायर है. तो एम जी एच प्लस हाफ एम वी स्क्वायर क्या हो जाएगा, कांस्टेंट हो जाएगा. We find that during the free fall of the object, the decrease in potential energy at any point in its path appears as an equal amount of increase in kinetic energy. So ये जो decrease in potential energy हुआ है वो क्या में convert हो गया, increase in kinetic energy. ठीक है. So we find that during the free fall of the object, the decrease in potential energy at any point in its path appears as an equal amount of increase in kinetic energy. तो ये है ना. So according to principle of conservation of energy, energy can neither be created nor can it be destroyed. This we have already read. It only changes from one form to the other. Now, in the universe, energy occurs in various forms. The sum of all forms of energy in the universe remains constant always. So, when there is a transformation of energy from one form to another, the total energy always remains the same, that is, it remains conserved. So, if there is only one interchange between the potential energy and kinetic energy, the total mechanical energy, that is the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy, remains constant, that is, K plus U is equal to constant when there are no frictional forces. The principle of conservation of energy is one of the fundamental principle of nature. ये जो principle of conservation of energy है, this is one of the fundamental principle of nature. Now we will derive the this verification of, we'll verify whether the potential and kinetic energy at any instant is constant or not. So we have three cases basically. When the object is at A, second at any point B, है ना, कोई भी point. Let's say the object is fallen down by a distance x and has reached B. तो इस समय जो B point पे हम लोग एनर्जी निकालेंगे, टोटल मैकेनिकल एनर्जी. और तीसरा when the object is about to hit the ground. Okay, so let a body of mass m be falling freely under the gravity from a height h. So the total height of the object is h, okay, above the ground. As the body falls down, its potential energy changes into kinetic energy. So we'll prove that. So at A, है ना, A point पे, since u is equal to 0, kinetic energy is half mu square. यहाँ पे वेलोसिटी v1 है, यहाँ वेलोसिटी v है, यहाँ पे वेलोसिटी u इज इक्वल टू 0 है. So half into m into 0 square, this will become 0. And potential energy is equal to mgh. So total mechanical energy is equal to potential energy plus kinetic energy. Potential energy mgh है, काइनेटिक एनर्जी 0 है, so this is equal to mgh हो गया. So total mechanical energy becomes mgh, right? Now at b, ठीक है, अब हम लोग b पे आते हैं. b पे जो वेलोसिटी है वो v1 है, ठीक है, v1. तो v1 स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू u स्क्वायर प्लस 2g इंटू, so v1 square is equal to u square into u square plus 2g into x, ठीक है. u क्या है, 0 है ना. Since u is equal to 0, v1 square will be equal to 0 square plus 2gs x, और v1 स्क्वायर हो गया 2gx. अब v1 स्क्वायर पता चल गया, तो काइनेटिक एनर्जी क्या हो जाएगा, हाफ इंटू m इंटू v1 स्क्वायर. सो दिस इज हाफ इंटू m इंटू 2gx. 2 and 2 gets cancelled, so this becomes mgx. Okay. At c, right, इस पॉइंट पे जब ये अबाउट टू हिट है, सो एट सी पोटेंशियल एनर्जी इज इक्वल टू 0, है ना, बिकॉज हाइट इज 0. काइनेटिक एनर्जी के लिए पहले u स्क्वायर, मतलब ये जो यहाँ पे वेलोसिटी v है, तो वो वेलोसिटी v निकाल लेते हैं, ठीक है. सो अच्छा, उसके पहले ना यहाँ पे, आई एम सॉरी, पहले बी पॉइंट पे पोटेंशियल एनर्जी निकालना था हम लोग को. तो बी पॉइंट पे जो पोटेंशियल एनर्जी होगा कितने हाइट पे है, ये h माइनस एक्स हाइट पे है ग्राउंड से. ये बी पॉइंट इज एट ए हाइट h माइनस एक्स. So this is mg into h minus x. This is the potential energy. Now, if you have to find the total energy, total mechanical energy at B, this will be what? Potential energy plus kinetic energy. Potential energy is mg h minus x, and kinetic energy is mgx. Add them together, you will get mgh minus mgx plus mgx. Minus mgx plus mgx gone. So this is equal to mgh. So see, यहाँ पे भी टोटल मैकेनिकल एनर्जी mgh था, यहाँ पे भी टोटल मैकेनिकल एनर्जी mgh, राइट. तो ये अब हम लोग क्या करते हैं, पहले इतना लिख लो, फिर मैं सी पॉइंट पे भी निकाल के बताऊंगा कि सी पॉइंट पे भी mgh ही आएगा. तो ए पॉइंट पे जो mgh आया टोटल मैकेनिकल एनर्जी, बी पे mgh आ गया टोटल मैकेनिकल एनर्जी. ये क्लियर है यहाँ तक सबको?
यस सर.
लिख लिया सबने?
Yes, sir.
नो सर.
Now please write it down and then I'll write the third part.
So do we have to make the figure?
No, I'll share the PPTs with you. You can make it later on.
Okay, sir.
रिटन सर.
Okay. Now, third part, at C, potential energy is equal to mg into 0, that is 0. And for kinetic energy, we know that v square is equal to u square plus 2g into the distance traveled is h. Total A से लेके C तक आने में जो distance travel हुआ वो h हो गया. ठीक है. So V square is 0 square plus 2gh. So this is 2gh. Kinetic energy is equal to half into m into V square. So this is half m. V square is 2gh. So 2 and 2 gone. This is equal to mgh. So kinetic energy mgh के बराबर हो गया. तो total mechanical energy is 0 plus mgh, and this again becomes equal to mgh only. So we have seen कि total mechanical energy at A, it at A also was equal to mgh, at B also it was equal to mgh, and at C it is again equal to mgh. So what we had to do is, verification of kinetic energy plus potential energy is equal to constant. So we have verified that the kinetic energy plus potential energy at any instant of time is constant only. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And have you written this?
Yes, sir.
लिख लिया बच्चों?
Yes, sir.
So same thing is mentioned here also, जो अभी हम पढ़ाए पूरा, जो मैंने कराया कि पोजीशन ए पे भी यहाँ पे देखो, पोजीशन ए पे mgh आ गया, और सेम चीज पोजीशन बी पे, एट पोजीशन बी अगर हम लोग देखेंगे तो यहाँ पे भी पोटेंशियल प्लस काइनेटिक एनर्जी mgh ही आ गया, है ना. और फाइनली पोजीशन सी पे अगर हम लोग चेक करेंगे तो यहाँ पे भी पोटेंशियल प्लस काइनेटिक एनर्जी, टोटल एनर्जी इज इक्वल टू mgh. Okay, so same thing is mentioned here also. Now we'll do questions. So this is it. This is the whole chapter basically which we have finished. Now we'll do few more questions on transformation of energy from one form to another, or and then the chapter will be over. Okay, then we can start revising. So we'll have test pehle of this chapter and then we'll revise. So in this question, the question says a 75 kg missile is dropped downwards from an aeroplane and has a speed of 60 meter per second at an altitude of 850 meter above the ground. Determine the kinetic energy possessed by the missile at 850 meter. So see, the mass is given as 75 kg, and when it is dropped at an height h is equal to 850 meter, the velocity is equal to 60 meter per second, right? Kinetic energy possessed by the missile at 850 meter. So first part, kinetic energy at h is equal to 850 meter. So भाई kinetic energy निकालना है. Kinetic energy होता क्या है? हाफ mv1 स्क्वायर हो जाएगा. मास हमें पता ही है 75 kg, और v1 स्क्वायर मतलब 60 into 60. If we cancel this, we have 30. So 75 into 60 into 30. So so 135,000. Okay. So this is kinetic energy, 135,000 joules. Now the potential energy possessed by the missile at 850 meters. Second part, potential energy at h is equal to 850 meter. So potential energy is equal to mgh. So mass is given as 75. G आप 10 ले लो अगर, तो ज़्यादा अच्छा रहेगा, कैलकुलेशन ज़्यादा इजी होंगे. H is equal to 850. So we have 75 into 10 into 850. So 637,500. Okay. Third part, total mechanical energy possessed by the missile. So total mechanical energy is potential energy plus kinetic energy. 135,000 plus 637,500. ठीक है. So this is 772. So total mechanical energy is 772,500 joules. ठीक है. The kinetic energy and velocity with which it strikes the ground. So we have to find the kinetic energy with which it strikes the ground. So when this missile is at a height 850 meter, it has a speed 60 meter per second. When it is about to hit the ground, let's say, okay, so let's say this is the missile which is hitting the ground. So when it is hitting the ground at this point, the height is 0. We have to find the velocity, kinetic energy and velocity. So fourth part, at ground, total mechanical energy is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy. Potential energy इस point पे ground पे क्या होगा? 0 होगा. So kinetic energy plus 0 is 772,500. So this will give you kinetic energy at ground is equal to 772,500. Total energy जो आया उसके बराबर kinetic energy हो गया. और यहाँ पे अगर हम लोग को स्पीड निकालना है, so we'll use the formula half mv square is 772,500. इक्वेट कर लेंगे हाफ इंटू मास दे रखा है 75 इंटू वी स्क्वायर इज 772,500. वी स्क्वायर इज 772,500 into 2 by 75. So this is V square is 20,600. Okay. So V is equal to square root of this. So 143.5 meter per second. Clear है बच्चों?
Yes, sir.
Please note this down.
Written, sir.
Written, sir.
Now, see in this question, it says that a body of mass 2 kg is thrown up, right? So mass of the body is equal to 2 kg. It is thrown up with a velocity 10 meter per second. So initial velocity is 10 meter per second. Okay. It goes to the highest point, right? We have to find the potential energy here at the highest point. ठीक है. So देखो, इसको बहुत सारे मेथड से कर सकते हैं हम लोग. नॉर्मल जो काइनेमेटिक्स जो मोशन इन स्ट्रेट लाइन हम लोगों ने मोशन चैप्टर पढ़ा था वहां से भी कर सकते हैं, या एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन से भी कर सकते हैं. एनर्जी कंजर्वेशन से अगर हम करें, सो लेट्स से this is point A and this is point B. So at A, kinetic energy is half mu square, half into 2 into 10 into 10, 100 joule. ठीक है. Potential energy will be equal to 0. ग्राउंड पे तो potential energy 0 ही होगा A पॉइंट पे. अब हम लोग चलते हैं at B. ठीक है. Kinetic energy at B is equal to 0. Why? Because the at the highest point velocity is equal to 0. Since highest point तो वही हुआ ना जहां पे कि जाके रुक गया ऑब्जेक्ट, तो उस समय at highest point velocity is 0. Since at highest point the velocity is 0, so kinetic energy will be 0. Potential energy at point B will be equal to mgh, है ना. अब यहाँ पे पोटेंशियल एनर्जी मान लो हम लोग को अभी निकालना है, राइट. सो बाय कंजर्वेशन ऑफ एनर्जी, ठीक है, so by conservation of energy, potential energy at A plus kinetic energy at A is potential energy at B plus kinetic energy at B. A पॉइंट पे पोटेंशियल एनर्जी 0 है, काइनेटिक एनर्जी 100 जूल्स है. 0 प्लस 100, पोटेंशियल एनर्जी एट बी तो हम लोग को निकालना ही है, और काइनेटिक एनर्जी 0. So this implies potential energy at B is equal to 100. Is it clear बच्चों?
Yes, sir.
लिख भी लिया आप लोगों ने?
Yes, sir, written.
Now let us attempt this question. Now in this question, a stone is thrown upward from a point A as shown in the figure. अच्छा, figure तो है नहीं. So what is being said is, a stone is thrown upward from a point A. Let's say this is a point A, and from here we have thrown a stone upward. After reaching the highest point B, let's say the stone reaches the highest point at B. So after reaching the highest point B, it comes down. Explain the transformation of energy from A to B. तो A to B क्या है, यहाँ पे हाईएस्ट पॉइंट पे वेलोसिटी हो जाएगा 0. ठीक है. सो all of the kinetic energy is converted into potential energy. From A to B, the kinetic energy is converted to potential energy. ठीक है? After reaching the highest point B, it comes down. Explain the transformation from A to B and from B to A. और फ्रॉम बी टू ए जब वो हाईएस्ट पॉइंट पे पहुंच जाएगा और उससे जब नीचे आता है फ्रॉम बी टू ए, क्या होगा? द पोटेंशियल एनर्जी इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू काइनेटिक एनर्जी. पोटेंशियल एनर्जी इज कन्वर्टेड टू काइनेटिक एनर्जी. ठीक है? And also mention the types of energy possessed by the stone at point A, B and C of its journey. ठीक है? C कहीं बीच में है मान लो. ठीक है? ठीक है? तो at C both potential energy and kinetic energy is possessed by the stone at A. Only kinetic energy is possessed by the stone, and at B only potential energy is possessed by the stone. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now B point is, first you write this down. I'll rub this and then I'll solve the second part of the question.
Written, sir.
What about others?
Sir.
So body of mass 20 kg is dropped from a height of 100 meter. ठीक है? So in the B part, a body of mass 20 kg is dropped from a height of 100 meter. So this is a height h is equal to 100 meter. So body has a mass m is equal to 20 kg. This is dropped from a height of 100 meter. Find its kinetic energy and potential energy after first second, second second and third second. तो एक सेकंड के बाद मान लो बॉडी यहाँ पे है, 2 सेकंड के बाद बॉडी यहाँ पे है और 3 सेकंड के बाद बॉडी यहाँ पे है. तो पहले तो हम लोग निकाल लेते हैं कि टोटल हाइट जो गिरने के लिए कितना टाइम लगेगा, है ना? सो दैट वी अंडरस्टैंड कि ऐसा ना हो कि वो 3 सेकंड के पहले ही आके इससे टकरा जाए. सो लेट्स सी. सो h is equal to ut plus half gt square. H is 100, initial velocity is 0, half into 10 into t square, right? तो इससे हमारा आ जाएगा t is equal to 100 by 5, 20 root under 20. So this is 4.47. So this is 4.47 second. तो ये तो कम ही है, मतलब अभी पूरे तक पहुंचा नहीं है ना? यहाँ पे t is equal to 1 सेकेंड पे निकाल रहे हैं, t is equal to 2 सेकेंड पे और t is equal to 3 सेकेंड पे. ठीक है? तो अब हम लोगों को वेलोसिटीज निकालना है तीनों पे, है ना? तीनों पे वेलोसिटीज निकालना है और हाइट निकालना है कि क्या हाइट है. at t is equal to 1 second, v is equal to u plus at अगर हम लगाएं, v is equal to initial velocity 0 था टॉप मोस्ट पोजिशन पे, acceleration due to gravity g into 1, so this is 10 meter per second, है ना. और कितना डिस्टेंस मूव किया है वो हम लोग निकाल लेते हैं. x is equal to, ठीक है, x is equal to ut plus half gt square. So the distance moved is equal to 0 plus half into 10 into 1 into 1. So this is 5 meter. So that means it has fallen down by a distance 5 meter. So height here will be 95 meter, क्योंकि टोटल हाइट 100 था, उसमें से 5 मीटर ये गिर चुका है, तो जो ग्राउंड से उसका हाइट होगा 95 मीटर होगा. हम लोग को काइनेटिक एनर्जी और पोटेंशियल एनर्जी निकालना है. काइनेटिक एनर्जी हाफ mv स्क्वायर कर लेंगे. सो दिस इज हाफ इंटू 20 इंटू velocity here is 10 into 10, 1000 joules. Potential energy is equal to 20 into 10 into the height is 95. So this is 19,000 joules. ठीक है, ये हो गया काइनेटिक एनर्जी और पोटेंशियल एनर्जी 1 सेकेंड के बाद. So similarly you can find kinetic energy and potential energy after 2 seconds. सेम फॉर्मूले में t जहाँ पे 1 लिखे हैं वहां पे 2 कर लेंगे. तो t इज इक्वल टू 2 सेकेंड्स के बाद अगर हम लोग निकालते हैं, v इज इक्वल टू 10 इंटू 2, 20 मीटर पर सेकेंड. y is equal to half into 10 into 2 into 2, 20 मीटर. तो ये जो हाइट है यहाँ पे, this is 80 meter from ground. So kinetic energy, if we calculate, half into mass 20 into v square, 20 into 20, 4000 joules. Potential energy mgh dash, mass is 20 g into 80, 16,000 joules. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे भी देखो सम कितना है, 19,000 प्लस 1,000 करोगे 20,000 होगा, और इधर भी सम करेंगे 4,000 प्लस 16,000 20,000 होगा. उसी तरह t इज इक्वल टू 3 सेकेंड पे भी निकाल सकते हैं आप, है ना. डू इट ऑन योर ओन. 3 सेकेंड के बाद का खुद से निकाल के बताइए मुझे क्या क्या आ रहा है. पहले तो कॉपी दिस एंड देन फाइंड इट आउट फॉर t इज इक्वल टू 3 सेकेंड.
Sir, I got the answer.
What is the answer?
Sir, kinetic energy is 9,000 joules and potential energy is 11,000 joules.
Okay. So let's check whether the answer is correct or not. So V is equal to, if we calculate, after 3 seconds, it will be 10 into 3, 30 meter per second. So kinetic energy becomes half into mass is 20 into 30 into 30. So this is 9,000 joules. Okay. And potential energy is equal to,
So in my answer, kinetic energy is 9,000 joules and potential energy is 11,000 joules.
why? It's correct.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Good. So we'll stop here. Next class also we'll do some numericals. Okay. First, and